Hey there, legal minds. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm a law student at Western, and today we're going to talk about one of the most misunderstood and misrepresented defenses in criminal law, mental disorder. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds heavy, but stick with me. Today, we will break it all down from fitness to stand trial to not criminally responsible, aka NCR, and that mysterious legal concept known as disease of the mind. And no, being in a bad mood or hating group projects does not count as a defense. So, in criminal law, some people who commit crimes aren't actually considered criminally responsible, not because they didn't do the thing, but because mental illness robbed them of free will or understanding at the time. This can affect two big things. First, whether you're fit to stand trial. Second, whether you're not criminally responsible for what happened. One is about your present mental state. Can you follow the trail, talk to your lawyer, understand what's going on? The other one is about your past mental state. When you committed the act, were you capable of understanding what you were doing and knowing it was wrong? Let's start with fitness. To be fit, you need to have just enough brain power to get through a trial. You don't need to be a legal genius. Heck, you don't even have to understand your lawyer's TikToks, but you do need to understand the nature of the trial, know what might happen to you, and be able to communicate with your lawyer, even just a little. As Whistle and Morrison explained, the bar is not high. You can have a limited grasp of things and still be fit. But if you can't instruct counsel at all or don't understand what's going on, you're unfit. In that case, the trial hits pass. You get assessed, and if you're likely to get better, they will wait. But if you're never going to be fit and you're not a threat, the case can be stayed, basically dropped. Now, onto the star of today's show, Section 16 of the Criminal Code. To be found NCR, you must have a mental disorder that made you incapable of appreciating the nature and quality of the act, or incapable of knowing it was wrong. Appreciating the nature and quality means more than just knowing what you're doing. You have to grasp the consequences. For example, if you're choking someone and don't understand that it can kill them, that could be an NCR. Knowing it was wrong means morally wrong, not just legally. If you thought God told you to do so and believe it completely, that could qualify. This doesn't apply if you're just a morally questionable person. Ullman tells us it's not enough to have weird beliefs. You must be incapable of understanding that what you did was wrong by society standards. And here is where it gets weird. NCR only applies if the person had a mental disorder, which a law defines as a disease of the mind. Sounds spooky, right? It is not a medical diagnosis, it's a legal concept, made up by judges, informed by doctors, but not controlled by either. So what counts? Things like schizophrenia, bipolar psychosis, and other serious enduring conditions, not being drunk, having a concussion, or just snapping. As Cooper said, the test is broad and excluding things that are self-induced and transient. Also, courts don't care if you feel bad about it. You could be completely unremorseful and still qualify as long as your understanding was impaired, not your emotions. Simpson made that clear. If you're found in NCR, you're not convicted, but you're also not acquitted. You go to disposition hearing. A review board decides what happens next. Absolute discharge if you're not dangerous, conditional discharge if some monitoring is needed, detention in a hospital if you're a threat. The goal of those is to balance public safety with fair treatment. As Winkle said, there's no presumption that NCR people are dangerous. You only stay in a hospital if there is a real serious risk, not just because you're different or unpredictable. And remember, even if you're detained, it has to be the least restrictive option possible. Usually, it is accused who raises the defense, and they have to prove it on a balance of probabilities. Why not the Crown? Well, they can, but only after proving the act was done, and only if it's already clear the accused might not be responsible. That's because, as Swain explained, we don't want the Crown throwing his crazy into the mix to make their case more convincing. That would be unfair, right? Still, the NCR defense exists to protect everyone, the accused and the public. So, to wrap up, fitness is about whether you can handle a troll. NCR is about whether your mind was capable of understanding or choosing right from wrong when you committed the act. The law uses a broad term, disease of the mind, but make sure it does not apply to people who just had a bad day or a few drinks. And if you're NCR, you're not getting away with it. You will face serious assessment and restrictions if needed. Mental disorder in criminal law isn't about sympathy, it's about fairness. The system recognizes that sometimes people don't act out of free will, and when they don't, punishment isn't the answer. Treatment is. Thanks for listening. Stay sharp and stay sane, or at least legally sane.